I think the first time we met, you thought I was Chad Veach. Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Right? How's that go? What, you just thought I was Chad?
Well, there are a lot of people that's also frustrated that love God. I'm not even questioning your love for God. You love God, but you've been asking and praying for something that you were inspired by on TikTok.
One of the most dangerous things that I see happen all the time is that God gives you your desires and then you lose your delight.
Ooh. You don't want whatever you're called to build to become bigger than you are as a person. That's where scandal happens. That's where, corruption happens.
Submission to God will take you further than your ambition could ever dream of.
Whoa.
Hey, it's Rich, and you're listening to the Mature Me podcast, weekly content devoted to all things life, leadership, culture, and faith. Thank you for taking some time to tune in. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on all our social channels so you don't miss a thing. Let's listen to today's episode.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Mature Me podcast. My name is Rich Wilkerson Jr., and I am so happy that you are joining us wherever you are at in the world. Thank you for taking a moment to listen to this content. I hope it blesses your life. I hope it encourages you. This is the podcast that we talk about growing up, not just growing old, but getting better, maturing, becoming the person that God's called us to be. So wherever you're consuming this from, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, like it, subscribe to it, share it, do all the things, folks. We really appreciate it. Today, I am so thrilled because I've got a wonderful guest on the pod, as the kids say, the pod. This is my friend and someone that I admire, someone who inspires me. He is a pastor, he's a preacher, he's a singer, he's an artist, but more importantly, he is a husband, a father, and a man of God. I'm talking about Travis Greene in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Greg, do you have any
We
audience noises?
need to.
There
I
we
don't know
go.
why we don't do that. We need
There
to.
we go. Let's liven this thing up.
Travis Greene.
Hey, man, I'm excited to be here. I'm a fan of Mature Me.
Shut
pod.
up.
I am. I watch.
I'm a fan of you, bro.
I watch.
I watch.
My wife can testify.
Bro, you're a freak, man, in the best sense of the word. Like, you can do so many things so good. Was that how you were as like a boy?
I was born a freak, honestly, in 1984.
Are you 84 as well?
I'm 1984, baby.
What month?
January.
March.
17.
I'm right behind you, bro.
January,
I
class
look
of
up
02.
to you, man.
Yeah,
I look
man.
up to you, bro.
Yeah, man. It was a good year.
But I'm
84.
saying, were you an athlete too? Because that's gonna make me really mad.
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
Were you good at math? Because that'll make me really mad.
I was really good at math.
No.
I was not. No, math was my thing. English was my thing, not sports. I had a heart for sports.
I love that.
And I'm naturally athletic. I was extremely small, and I didn't even grow. I grew a foot in the 11th grade.
Let's go.
Literally.
So you shot up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big year. 12 inches. That's bamboo style.
Yeah, for real. It was like that. So I'm about 6'3" now.
Yeah, right. What's your height? Rich, I don't want to say this.
5'8".
That's
I'm
strong,
proud of
bro.
my height.
I think you should
When
be.
you spent your whole life being under 5 foot, 5'8" is a big deal.
So you're telling me in the 11th grade you jumped from 4-something to 5'8"?
I would send you a picture to put. Greg, can we do that? Can we? Travis, why are you interrupting the pod and calling people names on
This is your
set?
pod, bro.
What is happening right now? Greg, I'm going to send a picture.
We call him Old Greg.
Old Greg. I'm going to send a picture, and then we'll flash it up. And that's going to be my proof.
Really?
This is me in 9th grade.
Okay.
It's unbelievable.
Wow, a little guy.
This is not Photoshop.
And then show us 11th grade.
This is 11th grade.
Whoa!
Boom.
5'8", man.
You can see the muscles and everything.
Yes.
It just happened. God matured me. You see what I did there?
Right there.
Yeah.
That's what sometimes it takes some time.
It does.
But if you wait on the Lord.
If you wait on
They that wait
Yes, sir.
on the Lord, they can go from 4'10" to 5'8".
And I couldn't
All
get
of a
on roller
sudden-
coasters
Huh?
as a teenager.
Bro, that's a whole thing.
It's tough.
Because my boys, my oldest son's a little bit taller than my youngest son. They're 2 years apart. He's quite small for his age. And that's a big deal going to Disney World,
a big
not
deal.
getting on the rides.
It's a big deal.
So did that traumatize you?
Sure.
Have you talked to a therapist about this?
Well, yeah. What the toughest part, my little sister is about 3 years younger than me, and she was way taller than me.
Stop.
And she's really short today.
Stop.
She's probably 5'4", 5'3", so she's not tall.
Stop.
But she was way taller than me.
When I was in middle school,
tough.
I kind of hit a growth spurt probably going into my 9th grade year. And I was I was short as well. And there was this girl that I liked. Her name was Amy Frederick. And shout out if she's listening.
What's up, Amy?
Amy, we love you. And she's a real person, so I should probably be careful with that. But
yeah.
she was my middle school
Especially
sweetheart.
nowadays.
And I one time got dared to, give her what we call a pop kiss. It's a quick kiss like that.
Was it consensual?
It was very consensual.
Okay,
Don't even start on this podcast.
I have to ask that.
Yeah.
I have to ask.
And the problem was that she was about a foot taller than me,
Mm.
so I had to stand up on the curb.
That's humiliating.
Yeah, I got up on the curb and I was like, "What's up?"
But you were cool, so she was down.
Yeah, I mean, I had a robust
Were you
personality.
popular your whole life?
Come on, man.
Because you're probably, they rate you as like the most popular preacher.
That is not true. That's what you get.
No.
That's your superlative. Most likable.
No. You're Mr.
People's
Popular.
champ is what they call Travis Greene.
You're the poster.
The man of the people.
You're the poster preacher.
Everybody's friend.
You're the poster preacher.
The most interesting man.
Everyone's like, you seen what Rich is doing?
Yeah, right. They're like Travis Greene.
That is green
does
room talk.
comedy shows,
That's green
preaches
room
down the
talk. Let's
house,
change this a
honors
little
his
bit.
wife,
Let's
can
change up.
sing any song.
Vu is already doing something different.
I love you.
Yeah, so
You know what I think
I
we
wear
should
your
do?
merch to church.
I think we should take the next hour and just affirm each other. This is a tough time for
Your
men of God.
eyes are really special.
Look into my eyes.
They give me Leonardo. They call you the Leonardo DiCaprio of Pentecostal church. That's your nickname.
You mean
Did you know that?
To
You could have been an
me.
actor. You have an actor face.
Search your heart.
You could have been an actor, or you could have been in a boy band.
Search your soul.
You should have been in a boy band.
And when you find me there,
And you don't even have to sing.
will
They could have did auto
search
tune.
no more.
Have you ever taken your shirt off and sung?
That's too far, man.
Okay, I'm sorry. You were singing, so I didn't think you were listening. I was just
Do you have
throwing
any of
out
that?
stuff.
That's a Bryan Adams song. You know who Bryan Adams is?
I don't.
Oh my gosh. So Bryan Adams, you ever heard that song? I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the iron, played it till my
The only white song
fingers
I ever heard
bled.
was Cotton Eye Joe.
Man, I wouldn't
That's
call it a
it.
white song.
Well, Cotton Eye Joe.
But Bryan Adams, I mean, he did inspire
Strawberry
a lot of,
Wine.
He did inspire a lot of white people.
I like that song. Like strawberry wine.
Wine.
That's a worship song. 17. Until I found out what they were singing about.
All
And
right,
I was like, whoa.
really quick.
Holy
Do me a
smokes.
couple songs that like are just totally not worship songs that could be worship songs. Does that come
Strawberry
to your mind?
Wine.
Strawberry Wine.
Definitely.
Okay. What else comes to your mind?
I mean, Titanic.
Really? That's a
Are
worship
you
song?
kidding me? My heart will, my God, go on and come on, lift your hands. On. You could take somebody to the throne room with that bad boy. Are you kidding me? Porcelain, she's been going through.
That's so stupid.
Yes.
I could do a. And I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky. I love you, Jesus.
Except I think there's a scripture about not swearing.
Oh,
I will cross the ocean for you. Lift your hands. I will go and that's a
Bro,
that's
the
a
lift your hands is the funniest bit.
throw that
Just
anywhere.
lift your hands
Yeah.
right now.
Every time a worship leader do that, it makes me feel awkward.
Do you have any rules for your worship leaders? Like how many times you're allowed to say lift your hands in a song?
No, but every time someone does it, I'm like, really?
It's a cheat code a little bit.
Is this you, or is this for me to surrender?
I see what you're
Is
saying.
it for you to feel a little better about this moment?
Wow.
So but I tell people to do it all the time. Come on, lift your hands. God is here. It's authentic when I do it. I mean it.
I'm genuine.
I mean it.
I'm genuine. Man, I am so happy that you're here.
What kind of shirt is this, Rich?
It's my friend me.
I like it. Is that soccer?
Well, as you can tell, this man makes me laugh very hard, and you're amazing. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for taking some time to come on. Honestly, I'm starting that way about you being so gifted because I just keep seeing you all over the place in all these different spaces, really in different environments, doing different things. I just feel like you bring such life to all these spots. Can we just maybe kind of go backwards a little bit? Because I want to talk about the book that you just came out with. But before we get there, can you just give us maybe a little bit of a synopsis, a brief, like how you got into ministry? Like you started in music first and then you started a church.
Yeah.
It's
What happened was, man, it's a crazy story. Wait, you talking about this book?
Yeah.
No, we'll get there in a second.
We'll get there.
So out of college,
Yep.
right? I got my first job as a youth guy and a music guy. So minister music and youth. And so I did both of those and so I grew up charismatic, like hardcore, like no pants wearing type of church is where I grew up in. For women.
What is no? Okay, for women. I was like, no pants wearing
Yeah, I
kind of
had
church.
to- yeah, I'm
what
sorry.
kind of a church is that?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
We're naked and no shame. This is Garden of Eden Church. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
women couldn't wear pants.
No, women, they had to wear a skirt or a dress.
All the time.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
keep hearing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Women couldn't wear pants. I'm like,
I'm sorry. Let me get better at this thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so jean skirts, that whole thing. So I grew up in that world. And then my first thing out of college was at a big Black Baptist church, which is like not me, right? Just my personality.
Tell me about that world a little bit. Like, what is a big Black Baptist church like?
Well, this church was, and the pastor and I are still close. He's like a father figure to me. But this church at the time was a little more traditional than what I'm used to.
Okay.
So they wanted more like hymns. They wanted How Great Thou Art, songs that I just didn't know at the time. I came to know later, but I didn't know any of those songs. And to me, a deacon up there singing just is not it.
Sure.
From the world that I come from. Both the world that I grew up in, the type of church I grew up in, was extremely musical. Then in college, my college church where my wife and I met was just very musical, very, at this time, we're talking early 2000s, so this is Israel, so if you're not up there singing that stuff and jumping around.
I am a friend of God?
Yeah, I'm a friend of God. If we're not doing that, we're wasting our time here, to me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what is this? And so the pastor wanted to get a little more progressive, but I felt like, the church didn't really want it at the time.
Sure.
And so my first choir practice, it was 70. And so the choir grew from 70 to about 5. And so they just, they were like, you know what?
Divine subtraction.
Yeah, they're like, we're out of this piece. So that was my first, but it was necessary. It was
How
basic
old were
training
you?
for me. I'm straight out of college, so I'm 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you and Dr. Jackie Greene met in college?
She was in college. I came back to the same college. So I'm 4 years older than her.
Oh, okay.
But I came back to do like a worship night, and that's where we met. Yeah.
I love that. And was it love at first sight?
For sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And she would say that's the same story, or
no? Yeah, she
loved
Lord,
you too.
Well, the Lord spoke to her, and then she came to me and said, "I have a word from God."
Is this true?
No. Man.
Oh my God! Because she's in. I'm like, I have a word from God.
No. So I did this worship night thing and prayed for like college students and stuff, and it just kind of became like this little revival. And then we were there like for hours. This is a true story. We were walking and leaving the parking lot with her and a group of friends, and I introduced myself and. Yeah,
that was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
So you are doing music. You're at a church. You guys get married. Then you're like traveling, and your music starts to like pop off. That people are listening to it, singing.
Yeah.
It becomes like your career.
Yes.
What years was all that?
So I'm at this church in Georgia. I moved from Georgia. Long story short, I moved from Georgia to North Carolina, and I'm serving there. And then I start working at a church called Forest Hill, which was kind of a very conservative white church, mega white church in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so I'm working there and doing music there, and I'm there to help bring diversity to the church. The pastor is super cool. He's another guy who's like a father figure to me. So I'm there for a few years, and then I leave that, and my wife get pregnant with our first kid. This whole miracle thing happened where her water breaks halfway through the pregnancy. And while she's in the hospital, I write this song, Made Away. And I'm starting to travel just a little bit. I'm traveling a little bit, nothing really big. But I wrote this song, Made Away, and I wrote this song called Intentional. And so, long story short, a label hears it and just like do whatever it takes to sign them. They fly me to New York, and then like that, my life just changed. And then TD Jakes put me on Pastor and Leaders Conference, and Furtick preached that night, and it's just the world opened up then for me. And this is 2013, I think.
Wow.
Something like that. 24. It would have been, I guess, 2014.
So 2014, you had this huge moment where doors start opening up. You're traveling, you're ministering. What on earth would make you want to go and plant a church?
Yeah.
Because that's a very, very interesting part. Like, it seems like your life was already growing tremendously.
Yeah.
That you're an artist, a worship leader.
Yeah.
What would make you want to put your feet down and be in one place?
I didn't at all. So what was interesting was, and I've been doing music. I started recording and kind of producing and stuff in college. So I have been doing music now this time for 10 years and or so. So what happens is I'm in Atlanta Airport, 2013, right before. So this is like a year or two before the music thing took off for me. So I'm in Atlanta Airport, and I just feel the only way I can describe it is a holy burden. And it's a true story. And I was just like, whoa, like, I felt like this call to start a church. I can't really explain it, but I could just feel it. So I called my wife. I was like, yo, I'm standing in the airport. I was like, yo, you think we'll start a church? And she was like, yeah, I've always known. I was just waiting on God to tell you. And, it's 2013. At this time, we met in '07, so we had been together for a while. Now we had been married, at this point, a couple years, and that was it. And so I went back to Charlotte, where we were living, and I just stayed up, writing down, like, possible names and vision and stuff of what I just felt like the Lord was saying. The first name I wrote down was Forward, and then I wrote down a bunch of other names because I was like, that's not cool enough. And the next day I Googled, this is a true story, forwardchurch.com. There was a church in Alabama, and I don't think it exists anymore, but there was a church in Alabama, Forward Church, and the lead pastors were Travis and Jackie.
Stop.
Yeah, so that's what made the name stick, and then we just...
You thought this was a good idea because there's already these names out there?
Well, that's
what... Or was it a sign for you?
That was a sign.
You're
but
right.
I gave God a list of reasons why it was a bad idea for me to start a church.
And how did you end up? You just couldn't shake it? Like, how would you end up describing that?
He countered everything. So, like, one thing was, hey, man, I'm not mature enough. It was like, yeah, you're fine. I was like, I don't want to wear suits. You don't have to. I don't want to lose my family. You don't have to. So it was a lot of things working in ministry at this point for a decade, full time. There was just a lot of things that I had seen, being up close, either being, a worship leader or a youth pastor, that I was just like, yeah, I don't want that for my life. But he told me I could be different. And he said, he really told me, he said that he would draw people to my authenticity and I could just be me.
I think one of the interesting things that I think is maybe important, and maybe you can agree or disagree, but like practically speaking, I think for people that are listening right now, I think sometimes people, they go, I have a hard time getting a vision. And maybe that means for them, I have a hard time seeing more or seeing before everybody else. But one of the ways that you can get vision is simply paying attention to your frustrations.
Yes.
Because if you pay attention to things that frustrate you, those are actually indicators of things that many times you're called to do. So like if I'm talking to like people that are married, it's like, do you have a vision for your marriage? Well, no, but all right, well, you hate sleeping on the couch.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's an indicator that what are we going to do to not sleep on the couch? We're going to try to figure out how to stay in the same bed. And it sounds like in many ways you had a whole list of what you thought the church was or what the church had to be or what the experiences that you were. Like, I can't do that.
Yep.
But if I'm allowed to do this, I'm in.
Yep.
Would that be a safe way to say that?
Absolutely. I believe your frustrations fuel your passion. It was the same thing for music. I complained about gospel music. I was like, it's lame. Everybody does the same thing. And I really felt like the Lord for me was like, hey, shut up and be the difference. Like, be the change you want to see. And so the same thing for the church. I had a bunch of reasons. Not only did I not want to do it, but I just was kind of tired of church as usual. My wife was the same way. We were just kind of having a tough time because what we were finding was that many times if it was sound theology, then you had to tolerate the worship experience. But if like the music was like off the chain, then you had to tolerate the theology. It was like, well, I don't really know what this guy is saying, but man, boy, we had a great time. Or it's like, man, I'm really interested in what he has to say, but man, we're just gonna have to.
This is boring.
This is tough. My God, this worship set is tough. And so we wanted to have something that had both dynamics, where it's like, hey, man, we have something to say, but it's a great experience, So you have excellence, high excellence, but you also have spirit. And we're not substituting one or the other, or exchanging. And then same for kids. We have an indoor playground, an arcade, all the things. We want the kids to like have this huge experience, but still be able to walk away with truth. And so we actually, what's funny, our vision. And I don't know if there are any pastors. Pastors probably don't watch this, right? But if there are any pastors watching this, our vision for the church really was what we did was, and I think it's kind of brilliant. We actually wrote down like our home DNA, like what's the Greens? Like what do we like?
Very good.
What do the Wilkersons like?
Very good.
Right. So like, man, we like to party, and so one of our culture codes, party hard. There's a DJ in the lobby. You're going to walk in the house and hear music. We like to laugh. We like to have fun. We like to, lead, but lead with humility. So literally all of the things that who we are, we literally did that as an exercise. We sat down and wrote, things that we just are and was like, hey, maybe, people will be drawn to this in a church setting.
I think that's so good. I've often talked to our team and I'm like, these values of our church, it's not good enough for them to be our church values.
Yeah.
They got to be your own personal values.
Exactly. Yeah.
It can't just be up on the wall.
Yeah.
It's got to get into your heart.
Yeah.
And you got to be this thing long before you ever see it.
Yeah.
And it sounds so simple to say that stuff, but it's so pivotal. It's so foundational. And so many people miss that. It's like, let me just throw some stuff up here. and then maybe we'll see. You will never see it until you first actually are it.
Yeah.
I think the first time we met, you thought I was Chad Veach. Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Right? How's that go? What, you just thought I was Chad? You think I look like Chad a little bit?
I don't. Now that I know you guys, you don't look alike. You know, it was just
But back then, just white guys.
white guys.
Yeah,
you
same
know?
white guy.
Yeah, white guys look. You know, look
Do you
like
think
should
white
be on
guys
TV.
look all the same a little bit?
No, you two look like you should be on TV though.
Really?
Yeah, you
Who
got.
would you say is cuter?
Out of YouTube, probably. Man, that's tough.
The word cuter from a 40-year-old man to another 40-year-old man should never, ever be stated unless we're talking about a puppy. And even then, I'm like, don't say that.
Don't say cute.
Don't
He's a
say-
handsome dog.
Yeah, don't say that. I got that dog in me. I'm a man.
My wife checked me on everything. She's like, "Don't say that." I'm
Hey.
like, it's funny. She's like, "Nah, your voice sounds weird when you do that."
Do you think Dr. Jackie Greene would ever come on the Mature Me podcast because
For sure, she's waited. That's where the anointing is.
she cares? This is what we say.
Yeah.
She's got a word in her.
She got a word in her all the time.
People don't say that about me much, you know.
Yes, they do, Rich.
But Dr. Jackie,
Yeah, she's
she
real
carries
deal.
a word.
She's real deal.
Talk to me about what you guys are seeing right now at Forward City Church, because once again, I haven't gotten to go in person, but from afar, and the stories that I hear.
We got invited a few times. You just
Shut
don't-
up.
You know, if it's not Madhu or Mike Todd, you know, it's not really worth your time.
God. This
You
man's
have Earl. You have like a list.
No,
that
no.
you'll-
It's like we want to. Like, if Earl can't make it, and and if J Baby's unavailable, who are those other white guys we kind of like? Chad. Yeah, if Chad's like too busy. It's like, let's see if Rich is available. This guy, get him out of here. Immature me. But tell us, because like honestly, like
yeah.
the words get thrown around,
Yeah.
revival and stuff like that. And I don't always know how to quantify or define those things. I think revival starts in us. Same
sure.
kind of thing. It's like I feel like I've been in a revival since I was 17, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. But I do think that you're seeing a manifestation of people engaged.
Yeah.
When leaders lead, people willfully give of themselves and they
Yeah.
serve. It feels like people are leaned in service. I think you guys' music that's coming out of there, by the way, if
Yeah.
I haven't told you, is just unbelievable. Jackie's conference, you're preaching, like it's powerful. It feels like there's waves of momentum coming out of there. Can you? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, like, but just let me talk about some of the things you're seeing.
My shorts feel like they're getting a little high on
They
me.
look
there.
good, man.
Yeah, thank you. I've been working out. I wanted to show my leg. Is that a pec? I don't know muscle parts. Here's the thing. South Carolina is
It's a lot like Miami, right?
exactly. It's a state in between North Carolina and Georgia is what it is. But so my family's from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My
Okay.
entire family, my mom, dad, everybody's from there.
Is that where they filmed Outer Banks?
I have no idea. Never heard of that movie.
It's a white person show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, clearly I called it a movie.
Honestly, can you just apologize, because it's a really great series.
Man,
and
I really
it's not a movie.
Outer Banks has a lot of ministry in it.
I don't think we should promote Outer Banks.
Okay, cool.
Anyways,
I
sorry.
have no idea.
2020, we watched a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I'm holy. So South Carolina is not the most progressive. And my roots are from there. I didn't grow up there though. My first time living in South Carolina is when we moved to start the church.
Okay.
So we get a word in 2013. We move in 2015. Launch the church in 2016. And I think Darius Daniels said it best. He pulled up one time, and he told me, he said, "Yo, this is an oasis in the desert," and I think that's really what. I think that phrase describes best what's happening there. There isn't, other than the Gamecocks, University of South Carolina, there just isn't a lot of momentum in that area. People are there normally because they have to be there, not necessarily because they choose to be there. It's not like a destination. Even Myrtle Beach, they call Myrtle Beach like the what is it, wife? Like the last minute. What is it? There's a phrase. Come on.
Put it on the spot,
Yeah,
man.
I thought
Come
you were
on.
ready for this moment.
It's called the
it's-
last minute plans, something like that.
It is. It is.
Something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
it.
Oh, it's the vacation that if you have a last minute plan, maybe, or
Exactly.
last
That's-
minute vacation.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah.
it's known for. So it's not something you like have on a calendar months out.
It's not people's maybe dream vacation.
Yeah, it's not.
Let's go to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what? Maybe we're headed to Myrtle Beach this weekend. So that's literally.
Oh snap! It's Labor Day. We didn't make a plan. Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle
it is.
Beach is
Okay. Sorry,
convenient.
I don't know anything about Myrtle Beach, and I feel like I'm putting it down. We love you, Myrtle Beach. A lot of podcast listeners from Myrtle Beach.
No, this is my
I don't want
root.
to offend anybody, Travis.
It's
Okay.
where my family's
Yeah.
from. Seriously, I mean, so
Sure.
we're there all the time, but we're 2 hours away from there. We're in the capital, Columbia. I say all that to say there isn't just a lot happening in the area, which makes like what we do, I think, even more special.
Yeah.
Because our culture, like even our volunteer culture, like they're proud that this is theirs, right? So they carry down their chest. It's like, man, you know, you can feel the gratitude from people. Like, man, I'm just glad you guys are here. Because when, to be honest with you, like we didn't do any research. Like it wasn't like, oh, there's a Chick-fil-A right here and this is right here, so we should plant a church here. It was literally like, he told us a name. You know, he told us to do it, kind of gave us a name, confirmed it with the whole Alabama thing. And then I started praying about location. I was wide open. I was hoping he said Florida, literally. Like I wanted to go to Florida. And you know, it was super random. It was like we were just chilling. And I think I had a concert in North Carolina or something. And I was in a hotel and I was walking up steps and it was like Columbia, just like that. And I walked in the hotel room and I was like, Jackie, like Columbia. She's like, cool. That was it. Had never been to Walmart, never been to a mall, never been downtown. Didn't know anything about the city when we moved there. Nothing. And we just on faith. Yeah.
So you step out and you're doing it, and this thing begins to rapidly grow.
Yeah.
It's not, people are now traveling
Yeah.
from other places to go and visit.
Yeah. And move. People are moving there for the church. It's just crazy. There's a family that moved from South Dakota. Literally. Just packed up and moved.
I'm thinking about that story in Acts chapter 8 where Philip, who is one of the early like apostles from the church, he gets a word from the Lord to go to the desert road
Yeah.
to Gaza. And it's not a cool place.
Yeah.
It's not like the place that anyone would like pick. And as he's on this desert road, he doesn't encounter a crowd.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to a big city. There's one Ethiopian eunuch, and he preaches the word to him.
Yep.
And many would go, oh, that's a small thing.
Yeah.
But the cool thing on the other side of that is that most scholars believe that Ethiopian eunuch who got saved that day is the one who brought the gospel to Africa.
Absolutely.
And I just love that principle that we're not actually called to be successful. We're called to be faithful.
Yes.
And how do you measure success in the kingdom of God? Obedience.
Obedience.
And when you have been marked by God, you don't need to be marketed by man.
Wow.
And I think there's something really, really beautiful about the story. And I want people to hear it just because I think part of maturing and growing, the older I get, and it's easy to say this stuff, but I want to try to be as genuine as I can. The older I get, it's like, Lord, what are you telling me to do?
Yeah.
Because I want to be led by the Spirit. And if the Spirit's leading me to something that my flesh doesn't want to do, I still want to be obedient. In fact, what I'm actually learning is that most of the time when God gives me a word, I don't like most of the words he gives me. For sure. I think a lot of us were waiting to get our preference, but God's like, no, I got a purpose that I'm trying to tell a bigger story. I care more about my dream than I care about your dream. Yeah. And I think that what you guys are walking in right now is just the evidence of trusting God and following God and obeying God. Yeah. And so I, as someone who's a fellow colleague, but someone who's in this, fight with you guys, it's like, I just applaud you guys. And I find a lot of inspiration for it. And I think what is happening there isn't just touching, obviously, South Carolina, but people from North Dakota are coming. Yeah. But guys like me in Miami are South Dakota. That's right. Shout out, was it Sioux Falls? Like what's up, Fargo? Like Mount Rushmore, take it down. But one of the cool things that's happened this past year is that you've released this brand new book, Are You Praying for the Wrong Thing? Yeah. And I think it kind of ties in a little bit about what we're talking about. Let's talk about this. And even the question that you're asking, help me out a little bit as you're asking that question. Are you praying for the wrong thing? What do you mean by it? Yeah, it's the #1 selling book this year in all genres. Millions of copies have been sold worldwide. 12 different translations. It's the Bible. Yeah, Harry Potter. Are you Purpose-Driven Life? Come on. Well, no, this is also purpose-driven. So you and Rick? Yeah. And you guys are taking on the SBC? He texted me this morning about it. You did? Yeah. He was upset. Man, it's a bummer. Yeah. My 40-day book. It's cool. Yeah. We're here, though. It's going amazing. No, so it changed. This is more than a book for me. The funny thing is, one time I released a couple books. None of them have done that great. No, but one time I was like #1, but it was like in some weird subcategory, like in the eastern region of east of the Mississippi. I'm like, hey guys, we're #1 in Christian living for young adults who come out of a Pentecostal charismatic background who are east of the Mississippi outside of this region, and it's for the day. It's actually for the hour. Congrats.
You're really popular in that area.
Huge.
Yeah.
Telling you what, all my friends there in Myrtle Beach, we're coming this summer. Get ready. We got a tour coming for you guys. We're going to be at the wonderful Marriott, the ballroom there. If you got your Bonvoy points, we want to do a shared, it's a bundle.
God.
It's a bundle package. And me and Don Tree were both coming. We've got a word. And we'll start on Friday night and then that day we're gonna do a swim party. There's a local pool there. Okay,
But you don't have a date. You're just gonna plan it the week
we're
before.
We're just talking about it. Are you praying for the wrong
Are
thing?
you praying for the wrong thing? It's a burden for me, man. This changed my life. True story,
Yeah.
right? This is how it all happened. This is back in, I think we're in year 2 of our ministry at Forward City. So it's around 2018. So I minister at a small church in Charlotte. Called Elevation, and so I'm there.
Small church.
It's a very small church. They're trying.
I know. Let's pray for those guys. For a moment
They're
because,
trying.
You know,
Yeah,
seeds of potential. Don't despise the small beginnings.
yeah, they'll get there. Especially the music thing if they keep striking.
Little by little, one travels far.
Yeah, that's true. Dr. Seuss. I was there doing some. I think I was singing for something, a conference or something, and so I'm going to hang with Pastor Stephen, who's the GOAT. Right, greatest of all time. So I'm going to hang with him, but I'm in a car with Chunks, who is Pastor Stephen's, right hand guy. So we're in a car. This is a true story. This is how this whole thing happened. We're in a vehicle driving, and we passed one of their locations, which we're at the Ballantyne location, which is where they shoot everything, and we passed their Blakeney location, which is 5 minutes around the corner, basically, is what it felt like.
Yeah.
So we're riding, Chunks point to the building, and I was like, I lived in Charlotte. I was like, I didn't recognize it was so close. It was like, this was like one of our first, major campuses, and so we're just going to keep it, the people there are great, and we're going to keep it. And I was like, so when did you guys get this? And I don't remember exactly what he said because I blanked out, but he said something along the lines of, it was like year 2 or 3, we bought it because someone gave us a lot of money, is basically what he said. And everything, I blacked out. I didn't hear anything else. Because I'm sitting here, and then this is a true story. I felt like I was having a wrestling match with God in the car. And I just literally was like, this ain't right, man. I didn't ask, full context, we're in Columbia, and we were struggling at the time. We had no money, little warehouse building, packing people in there, 3 services, packing people in there, but it's small. It's super small. And so we're struggling. No, very limited staff, limited resources, all the things. And I start going in with God. I'm like, yo, that ain't fair. Like, why are you giving up so much? Like, are you racist? Like, what's up, God? Like, I need you to help me with this. And so I'm just going in, and this is a true story. It's a true story. It happened in this vehicle. I got asked $1 million question. The Lord asked me, what would you do with $1 million? And I had no answer. I said, well, I get a bigger building. Of course. Every pastor would say that, right? He was like, okay, where? How many seats, square footage, interest rate? I just had no information. I'll get more staff. Well, who? What does the current staff do? I had no information. And so I recognized that a prayer without a plan is just wishful thinking. And so I had been praying for the wrong thing. And I think a lot of people are frustrated in church because we're waiting on God to do something that maybe he's actually waiting on us, right? And so I was praying for miracles when I should have been focusing on management. I was praying for stuff, like if I could just have more stuff. And God was like, let's shift that to strategy. And so when I learned that, it was a cheat code that really unlocked, a ton of just manifestations in my life. I'm finally started holding in my hands what I was holding in my heart. But the twist was when I recognized, hey, man, you're praying for what God can do, but you haven't really applied, pressure or intentionality to what the things that you can actually do. And so that's where the whole concept came from. And that revelation has just been changing people's lives around me.
No, it's massive. And I think I love it because it's actually perfect with the Mature Me podcast. Yeah. This is a mature way of looking at it. When we first started the church, by the way, it is funny, like going to a place that you're supposed to get encouraged, but all you walk away with is being discouraged. Right?
Exactly.
You ever met somebody? They're so happy, it almost makes you more depressed.
Exactly.
It's like, bro, stop smiling.
Exactly.
Like, how you doing? Good. God is good. It's like, bro, I'm not that happy. And that can happen. Like sometimes even as ministers and pastors, it's like I can go see what they're doing Like, God's moving here in Columbia. I'm like, bro, this is not encouraging me here in Miami. But I remember when we were starting our church, and for years, I mean, we didn't buy a property until I think year 5, and we still have a long way to go, but God's been faithful. But our first little building that we rented, that we had like full time, was a little office space. I think we rented one side, it was like 4,000 square feet. And then it was like the other side was like 8,000 square feet. It kind of became what we called our HQ, our headquarters, which I just love that, by the way. It's like, we don't got an office.
Right.
We have a headquarters.
Oh,
you know, what you call stuff matters, you know,
For
like
sure.
This is a big vision. But I remember it was probably 2 years into the story that we were able to get this office space. And it was a really big deal for us to like rent a little building in Miami. And I went to my friend Jerry, who's a part of our team, and she's a creative and she's an interior designer. I was like, Jerry, we got to design this office. She goes, oh, I got you. Since launch team, I've been saving references and furniture and samples because I knew the day would come that we'd have an office space, and I'm ready to go. And it spoke to me because a lot of people say, oh, I'm expecting God to do stuff. But expectation without preparation is no expectation at all.
Yes.
Like the fact that she was preparing and planning, and you just gave some language there that I think are real handles that people can walk away with that matters so much, that like we're praying, but like we don't know how to manage that thing. Like if God does it, would you even be ready for it?
Yeah.
Like if God answered all your prayers,
Yeah.
would you actually even be ready? That's the thing that kind of keeps me up at night. Like, hey, I'm going to do my part. God's going to do his part, but am I stewarding that which he's given me already?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you this much. If we fail to maximize what he's given us, he won't multiply it.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Sometimes the grace of God withhold what we would call blessings.
Whew, talk about that.
Yeah. You know, it's my kids, right? I love them a ton. But if I gave my kids the keys to my car, you know, in the moment, they'd be like, whoa, you know, they'll celebrate. But we know they're going to wreck. So it's actually grace that I'm
Very
like, hey,
good.
you're actually not
Very
ready for this. And I recognize that there were so many things in my life that I just wasn't ready for. I wanted it, but that, you know, you can want all you want. I just wasn't ready for it. And so your preparation is proof of your expectation. Is exactly what you're saying. Like, you know, and there are a lot of people, I know this for a fact, that are so discouraged because either they're not ready for it, or here's the other thing, they're actually praying for something that God never promised.
Wow.
So there's a scripture that we've taken completely out of context. Psalm 37:4. It says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. Well, this idea of him giving you the desires of your heart first comes by delighting in him, walking with him, praying with him, observing spiritual disciplines. So you do these things, then you can be trusted with the desires, right? Well, here's the thing. This desires of your heart doesn't mean that he'll give you what you want. It means he'll give you what to want. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of people that's also frustrated that love God. I'm not even questioning your love for God. You love God, but you've been asking and praying for something that you were inspired by on TikTok. Preach. You saw this thing at Boo, was like, well, this must be the word of God. What? No, what did God say? I love what you said a few moments ago. What is God saying to Rich? And I think there's so much freedom in there, man. And for me, it was locking in on, what are you saying for Travis, Jackie, Forward City? Yeah. What's our thing? And then I can start praying and preparing for that. And, this has become a cliche, but it's actually true that God gives provision to vision. Yep. What is the actual vision? And trying to get as specific as you can with that. And so I did it, man. I used to go to sleep with the plans for our church. We didn't have the money. And I was marking up, hey, this is what this room's going to look like. And then the realtor messed around and gave us a key because I was like, hey, it'll be great to film some promo in here just to invite, to encourage people to give. He was like, sure thing, Travis. Man, great white guy. Little did he know. Man, you give me that key. Baby, I'm up in that mug.
We're not giving these keys back.
Wait, what? I'm bringing a drum set in here. And
where's my money? It's coming.
Recording a full worship set. I did it. But I also, I had blue tape and I marked, like, this is what preparation looked like. I marked, hey, this is what this room would be. I marked office spaces, and this is the sanctuary. And stand over there, and does this feel right? And this is where the balcony would be with no money. And I think there's something about that excites God. Like, I think he sees that, and he's like, okay, that's faith. Like, that's working faith.
Come on.
It's not. You're not just sitting on the sideline, but you're actually man, you're really about this thing. And even in the Bible, God was drawn to people who had working faith.
Yep.
Right? I think one of my favorite stories in the Bible is in Judges, is a story about Gideon. And I'm fascinated with this guy, Gideon, because he's found in Judges 6, threshing wheat in a wine press. He's threshing wheat in a wine press. Well, you don't thresh wheat in a wine press. You thresh wheat on a threshing floor because you have an open space to be able to throw up the wheat and allow the wind to separate the chaff. Well, he's doing this in a wine press, which traditionally was a very small room. So he's in a limited space working his faith. And he's there by fear. We know that. He's there hiding from the Midianites because when the angel of the Lord comes to him, he's like, yo, I'm not a mighty warrior. Like, I'm literally in here hiding. But he wasn't just hiding. He was working. And I think there was something about his stewardship, even in a tight space, that attracted the favor of God on him. It was like, yo, yeah, I see fear in your heart, but I also see something that other people ain't doing. Other people are hiding, but there are not a lot of people who are working. Like, you're still working. You're still using limited resources in a limited space. And so that's what I did. I came back from Charlotte. I came back to the same little warehouse, the same way David went right back to the same field. But, man, I was different. I was so different. I said, what we can afford to do is make this the greatest little warehouse that South Carolina's ever seen. So let's change the ceiling tiles and let's paint and maybe let's pull up the carpet here and let's make this a video room and let's add a door. And we did all these renovations illegally because I didn't know we needed permits. Screw permits. But we did it. And we were stewarding. And God was like, all right, bet. Here we go.
You're speaking my language, man.
Yeah, man. Use what you have.
Use what you have.
Yeah.
God doesn't call lazy people.
No.
We could prove that with the scripture.
Yep. Fisherman.
Where did they find Elisha?
Yep.
Plow in the field. Where did he find his disciples?
Yep.
They were fishing.
Yeah.
I think he finds people that are busy at work, and then he steers and redirects that thing into his kingdom. Now work for me.
Yes.
And you know that scripture, that's such a good insight on delight yourself in the Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart. I think on the other side of it is one of the most dangerous things that I see happen all the time is that God gives you your desires and then you lose your delight.
Ooh.
And I think that we as believers we have to recognize that as God begins to bless us, there is this thing that I call blessing management. That, man, like, we've got to steward that which he's already given us. We've got to learn how to continue to say, Lord, this is all from you.
Yeah.
My delight is in you. It was never in the thing.
Yes.
It was never in the building.
Yes.
I like the idea. Put your hope in God.
Yes.
Hope in itself is too heavy to carry. You can't hold hope up. Don't get your hopes up. I don't mind people saying that. Don't get your hopes up. Because I'm not supposed to get my hopes up. Hope's heavy. I put my hope in. My hope is in God. It's not in the outcome. It's not in the result. It's not in the building. And I think there's a big part of that. Like, if I can keep my delight in him over and over again, he's going to regenerate this heart, and my desires are going to be his desires.
I love that.
I think this idea of praying God's will, like, that's the hardest thing. Like, the hardest bar to me in Jesus' teaching is like, let, your will be done.
Yeah.
Like we kind of say that stuff quickly, like, Lord, I want your will. Do you?
Yeah.
Because sometimes his will looks like, you're going to come off the road and you're going to start a church in Columbia, South Carolina, a place I never dreamed of, that was never on the Pinterest board. Babe, let's go to Columbia. Oh, like Bogota? Like Medellin? No. I'm sorry. South Carolina. But look at God, that when you trust and you obey him, and I don't think you were even doing it to even get this big thing on the other side. It's just, it's the faithfulness and the stewardship. Yeah. And I just think it ministers to me because this is a lesson that you don't graduate from.
Yes. So I just got this revelation recently.
Share it. I need something to preach this weekend.
About stewardship. I used to think that stewardship was preparation, but I just discovered that's dangerous, right? Stewardship is not preparation. Stewardship prepares you. There's a difference, right? If you're only stewarding to prepare for something, you have to be careful because that could be manipulation. Like, I'm only doing this so that
I can get that.
Right.
I know how this works.
Yeah.
I love being here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm
about the house.
Yeah.
I'll keep mopping floors.
Exactly.
I know how to get on the stage.
Exactly. So you have to be careful with that. I think what made David so great. And I just saw this in his story, and I preach David probably more than anybody. He's my guy. But I just saw this in the story. He did not prepare for Goliath. He stewarded sheep. He perfected the slingshot, not practicing with Goliath's face on it, like one day I'm going to do this, and one day I'm going to get a parade, and one day I'm going to be king. He perfected it because he was fighting lions and bears over sheep. The Bible literally says, this was his resume to Saul, when a lion and a bear came and took one sheep, I chased it down, took the sheep out of his mouth, the animal turned on me, I grabbed it by his hair and defeated it. All of this warrior stuff wasn't for like, I'm getting reps because one day I'm going to be on the battlefield. It was, I'm just stewarding sheep. And I'm so committed to these sheep that after Samuel poured oil, I'm coming back to these sheep. Like and they're not even his. The Bible says they're his father's sheep. Like I am committed to the house. I'm committed to this assignment. And I'm not doing this to get on. Versus his 3 brothers who are on the battlefield. Just imagine. Now this isn't Bible, but I could just imagine they're in this yard practicing, with the sword. Like one day we're going to be in the king's army. One day I'm going to be the next mighty warrior of Israel. And they get there. And because their motives aren't right, they can't be trusted. They're never called men after God's own heart. As a matter of fact, one of them is fussing with David, like calling him all kind of stuff out there. Like, why are you even out here? Who's watching your sheep? Like, so their hearts are all twisted here.
Competitive comparison.
He was ready for the open door because he stewarded his present. And I think that is so vitally important. Like, you just lock in, Travis. Lock into the day. Like, lock into what you currently have.
Totally.
Lock into this audience. If it's 5, if it's 50, like, be present in the moment, and the future will find you. And this is a very important message for 2024.
Yep.
Because nowadays, especially with social, like you can manipulate your way into a room. You can rub the right shoulders, make the right post, get in the right spot, make the right graphic. But man, if you don't learn the secret, like Paul said, of contentment, you'll always be chasing something. And I just love that. Of course, David got stuff wrong in the future, but it was just amazing to me, he and Joseph, how they never kicked down a door. The future grabbed them in.
Well, and the thing that God so loved and commended and celebrated about David was the purity of his heart.
Yes.
Like, of course he made mistakes. We're human. We're going to fail. We make mistakes. But this was a man that was after God's heart. Like, his heart was always for God.
Yes.
And you see that in David, like his intention and his motivation. God tests in private before he exposes us in public.
Yes, man.
That doesn't ever go away. Wherever you're at today, the power is in the present. It's not in the past.
Yes.
It's not in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And stewardship is all about the now thing.
The now.
I don't know what tomorrow holds.
Yep.
I don't know if God's going to elevate me. I don't know if I'll graduate. I don't know if I'll get promoted, but I'm going to live my life in a promotable way. And if I just stay in this state of being promotable, I'm happy and content in him.
I love it.
And the powerful thing about David, right? It's like, God's like, you can take care of your daddy's sheep? I bet I can trust you with my sheep.
Yes, man. Yes.
I bet I can trust you with my people. So the fact that you know how to be a good shepherd already tells me you know how to be a good king.
Yes.
And I think that's a word like, stewardship is not just preparation. Stewardship is about the intention. Like,
yes.
Now I'm entrusted with this. And
the
I'm
reward
grateful.
of it is preparation. Like God prepares you. God matures you in the middle of it. Like he's like, oh man, good job. Like it's a reward.
Absolutely.
Like, oh,
and
you're prepared. And you don't even know you're prepared.
I think the reward even is just contentment.
Yes.
Like I think it's miserable when I'm stricken with anxiety.
Yes.
Or when I'm getting bouts of depression or self-doubt or compare. That stuff is miserable. There's something beautiful when you're satisfied
in the now.
In Jesus. And I'm right here present.
Yeah.
I'm engaged. I just think about David, like that's such a funny idea. I've never thought about the brothers. And it's like there is this competitive comparison nature. Even Saul, right? When he's like going to the battle, Saul's like, put my stuff on. And David's like the Tin Man, like, this stuff, I can't go in this. This is not me.
Yeah.
And the word is that many times when we try to compete, compare, behave like somebody else, the very thing that's meant to protect us will ultimately paralyze us.
Yes.
That armor wasn't his to wear. And David, it's another sign of his contentment in the Lord.
Yes.
I think when I look at you and Jack, I want to speak about your wife as well.
She's hot.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The husband says that. Beautiful woman, inside and out. But I think one of the things that I'm drawn to you guys about, and the people I want to be around in my life,
Yeah.
because I think that you become like the people you're around, is your guys' ability to be, to me it appears, content, confident, fun. You're big celebrators of people. I think that you guys cross the chasm into different tribes. I look at all the different types of churches that you preach. That's not by default. Yes, the Lord has led you to those things, but it's also you stewarding, going, yeah, man, like I'm a big person. And even just like I hear in some of your origin story, from the Black Baptist church to the white mega church, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to serve.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have preferences of both things and different parts, but like you kind of continue to submit your life over to the bigger purpose. Can you just talk for a moment? I know that's a weird kind of question, but like about just confidence and celebrating people and being a good friend and laughing in the face of adversity and pain and struggle. I think that you do such a good job at that.
Yeah, I think it's actually my life, right? I had so much trauma as a kid. My dad died when I was 5. He was a 28-year-old pastor out of here on a Sunday morning. Next Sunday they buried him. Next Sunday was Father's Day, right?
What happened?
So he had an aneurysm, just randomly on a Sunday morning. He said, I have a headache. Laid down on the couch, put his head on my mom's lap, and said, read me the Bible, and he died.
Dear
So,
Jesus.
yeah, so when you have that as a 5-year-old, right, and you have these flashes and memories of, like, this funeral and the song they sung and the suit you had on and all, like, so all that stuff lets you know how fragile life is.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of robbed of that. The innocence of, like, forever at a young age. But the beautiful thing in that is that I have this great balance of not taking things too serious, but at the same time taking life serious, right?
Yeah.
So it's like moments matter to me, because I know that tomorrow is not our option. You can be as healthy as you want to be. My dad had just had a physical. He's military. Just had a physical, perfect health, signed off. He's great, out of here. So, you know, like, your next breath is actually God's option. And seeing that happen to him, not someone who's, you know, careless or on the street or whatever, is like, nah. But I think the comfort that God gave me was that his assignment was fulfilled, right? It's like, hey, I had your dad here for a reason. He fulfilled that reason. And you can continue and honor his legacy with the life you live. So for me, I just want to give you that context for that's why I live the way I live is I just understand, man, life is quick. And then another thing that happened to me in my early adulthood, you know, for me, I never had a drug addiction or anything like that. My addiction, I think I shared this with you one time at your house, but my addiction was ambition. I just wanted it so bad. I wanted, like, you know, when you're so young and someone tells you, you know, you're going to be this, you're going to do that. You know, I had all these prophecies at a young age. So it's like, all right, I got to make it happen. And then it wasn't happening fast enough. So I spent a lot of time in my 20s just, like, grinding, and I missed a lot of great moments for people. So coming into this past decade, I just kind of made a decision, and I told my wife, it's like, man, I worked real hard to get somewhere, got to the top, realized there wasn't anything there, you know, musically. And so for me, it was like, man, I would like to just be a great friend with no strings attached. I'm not trying to get on. I'm not trying to go to a conference, so maybe they'll have me preach at the conference. Like, I enjoy not doing anything at conferences, which is new for me because for so long in my life it was like, oh man, I just gotta get in. I gotta get into space, and it's like, so that's just what phase I'm in life. She's always been like that. My wife could care less. She doesn't know anybody. She's not impressed by anybody. She's like, whatever. And so, but I've always been impressed by people. And when you're impressed by people, you try to impress people. And so that was such a big portion of my life that over the past few years, I've been able to make this switch and really just live clear. And I think that helps the confidence, though. I think what helps my confidence is that I'm actually not trying to get on. I'm not careful. I'm actually super careless. Like, there's a lot of times I get done preaching, my wife's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't. I'm not overthinking anything,
Thank
man.
you, Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I was like, she's like, did you know what you said? I was like, yeah, I was just winging it, man. It was a good moment. So it's like, yeah, you know, be careful with that statement. That's a bad one. So I live super free, super open, and it makes life fun for me. But that's where being a good friend and just being supportive and just, you know, I want to show up for people. I want people to know. I think there's nothing that screams support, like presence, right? You could send a text, like, looks like you had a good time. You know, that's cool. But, man, just looking up and seeing your homie in the audience or
Makes a
just, you know,
difference.
oh, man.
Makes a
What?
difference.
Oh, man. So I love doing that. Oh, last thing, let me throw this, because you had something you're about to say that's really amazing. I could tell. But this is what I meant to say. I kind of lost my way. But so about 4 years ago, I was discouraged. And I hate calling it that. I feel like it's a cheap word for what I felt. I just felt like I lacked encouragement, right? I wasn't like depressed or anything, but I felt like, man, I'm working real hard, right? Like I'm putting my best foot forward with these sermons. Like I'm not cutting corners. I'm studying. You know, I want to have something to say. And like no one's like high-fiving me. And I don't want to culture. I don't want to tell my people, hey, when I get off stage, I'm very vulnerable. Just encourage me, right? I don't want to be that guy either.
You know the story of Elijah up in Mount Carmel? Every week, I'm calling fire down from heaven. I'm thin right there.
Yeah,
man.
I just need someone to be like, man, you killed that, you know, even if you don't mean it. And I felt like it started upsetting me. I was like, man, these ungrateful, like no one's encouraging me. And the Lord showed me a scripture in Matthew 5. And this is so practical. It's not even deep. But he showed me scripture. And it said, blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Ooh. And he said, Travis, the harvest of mercy come from the seed of mercy. And he was like, you can replace that with anything. If you want encouragement, sow encouragement.
Great.
Become an encourager. And so I was like, once I got the revelation, so I just became a big cheerleader for everyone. And, man, lo and behold, like I started getting more encouragement. People started like, man, you're doing a great job, you know? And so anyway, I don't know.
No, I think that's amazing because, like, literally, that is a principle of my life. I'm the kind of guy who goes to a comedy club and the guy is, like, bombing. And I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, that's funny. Just because how many times you've been on a stage, you're like, can I get some level of feedback? I'm sowing seed, bro.
God,
I'm sowing
something.
seed.
And then you always catch the one guy on the front row. Man,
Yeah,
he's
it's like,
just
wake up.
Yeah, bro.
But I'm saying,
Why
if
are
you
even
want
here?
encouragement, you got to give encouragement.
Yeah.
You said something that I think is like, I got to write down and think about. When I'm impressed by people, then I want to impress people.
Yeah.
And that to me is a bar, because what happens to us is, I think, in my experience, is that the Lord gives us gifts and like natural skills and like a personality makeup, a profile. Personality is just a pattern of behaviors that we repeat from time to time. And like for you, like you love people. And then I think the enemy can take this thing, which is a strength, and then he can pervert it. All it simply means is used outside of its proper intention. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, the love of people can become a fear to please people or not to let people down. And I need their affirmation. And for me, one of the things that like the Lord has been dealing with me on, and I've been talking with my wife about this a lot, it's just like this idea, and this kind of is going deep all of a sudden, but like the fear of God. Like the fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom. Mm-hmm. And the fear of God to me, sometimes we kind of shy away from it because it sounds so like, what, am I supposed to be afraid of God? But it really is just this reverence and this awe that I recognize God's bigger than all of it.
Yeah.
And if my fear was actually properly placed, it wouldn't be in the storm. It certainly wouldn't be in people. It would be in the one who's in control of all of it. And when you have a healthy fear of God, it actually drives out every other fear.
Yeah.
And I'm learning at times, like, if I'm going to lead and be the man that God's called me to be, I can't do it if I'm afraid of people. Yeah. I can't do it if I'm trying to please people. That was Saul's whole problem, right? Like Saul was like, he so wanted the people's affirmation and could never lead. And
make sure I look good.
Yeah, are they okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, we're going to make mistakes, but I fear God more than I fear man.
I love that.
And I don't always get that right, but that is my desire. Mm-hmm. Lord, I want to make sure I'm looking to you and only you. And Lord, I submit myself over to you. Submission turns out that if you're submitted to God, submission to God will take you further than your ambition could ever dream of.
Whoa.
That's the word.
So true.
It's like if I just, Lord, I'm your vessel.
Yeah.
Use me. And time again, I think he shows up and flows through us and uses us in mighty ways. This podcast is called Mature Me. And the question that I love asking people is, where do you think, like right now, and this would be different maybe next year, maybe it was different last year, like what's an area right now that you're going, God, like I got to grow in this. I got to mature like in this season. Where would you be praying or where would you be thinking right now at this season of your life?
Yeah, I think leadership is probably just the anthem like of my heart in this season. I think anything that I'm called to, you know, you don't want, how can I say this? you don't want whatever you're called to build to become bigger than you are as a person. That's where scandal happens. That's where, corruption happens. That's where, so for me, it's, all right, God, I'm not just praying. My wife preached a dynamic message one time about the prayer of Jabez, but she talked about enlarge my territory. But she flipped it and was like, hey, instead of just asking God to enlarge things externally, like, man, enlarge me internally to handle whatever it is. And so I've just shifted, even my prayer, I was praying for the wrong thing. I just shifted, like, God, literally mature me, like grow me, stretch me, change me, so that I can lead better. I found myself praying more prayers like Solomon, like I think the purity of that prayer, man, give me the wisdom to lead well. Like, and so that's for me, I've been really leaning into that big time. I've been watching my tendencies, watching my tone, watching my temperament. I've been kind of, assessing myself and those around me.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. So that's another thing that's been, something happened with Gideon when he's at this brook. The Bible says they go to the stream, and this is the final test. This is what takes him from 10,300. And he says, hey, everyone who puts their head in the water, they got to go home. But everyone who picks the water up and drinks it can go forward. And 9,700 men failed the test. And I think what made this test so vital was that if you're so consumed with what's beneath you and you're so, like, thirsty for, ambition and this thing, and you're just so easily distracted by, and you don't have vision for what's ahead, if you can't make that shift from in the water to looking up. And the reason they were able to go, they picked the water up, and God's like, yeah, they're not going to be so drowned by what's beneath them. They're going to keep their eyes out, right? So even those around me, I'm qualifying those who are close now by and saying, hey, do you have vision for more, or is this just who you are? If you're content here, I can love you here, and support you here. But man, you're not gonna be able to walk, in step with where I'm going. And so I've been assessing that about myself. Travis, let's test. Let's make sure you're not so consumed with things that are low. You have vision for things that are out. But then also, I've been also like testing and qualifying those around me with the same thing.
I think it's so important. Jesus to his disciples, watch and pray.
Yes, man.
Don't just pray.
Yeah.
You gotta get the water, and you gotta watch and pray.
Yeah.
And Solomon, that prayer, God give me wisdom. That wasn't just the prayer. The prayer was, God give me wisdom that I might lead your people.
Yes.
And I think that when we attach our prayers and our desires to God's delight, which is his people, that's when things start getting answered.
Oh, yeah.
And God starts doing amazing things. I love you. This is Travis Greene, ladies and gentlemen. This book, Are You Praying for the Wrong Thing? I think this is so much of his story, but also so practical and so helpful on your everyday of maturing. I can't think of, honestly, a better book to recommend from this podcast than this one right here. We admire you. We celebrate you guys. If you're ever in South Carolina, or if you're 500 miles in a drive time, I think it's worth making it out there to Fulton City Church. We love you guys. Bless you and Jackie and the entire team. Friends, if this content helped you in any which way, go ahead, like it, share a comment about some feedback that you had, and we'll see you next time right here on the Mature Me Podcast. Peace.